welcome back to the channel. My notepad and I are back for another tag video. I am jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody right now is putting out their mid-year freakout tag videos, so I decided to do the same thing. Because why not? You know what? I just really enjoy tag videos. I really need to start doing more tag videos. I've been tagged in a few, and I think over the next few weeks you're going to get a couple of tags from me because I just enjoy doing them. And why not make content that I enjoy, right? Anyway, let's get into this. Let's just jump straight into there. I have no idea who the original tag creator for this is. I believe the original video might not be online anymore. I'll do a little bit of rummaging before I post this. I'll see if I can find it. And I'm going to follow the same prompts and questions that Angela over at Literature Science Alliance followed. And just go from there, shall we? So the first one is the best book you read in 2022 so far. The second one is also the best sequel you read in 2022. Now, I put down a sequel for the best book I read, so I'm going to combine these two, and we're going to go with The Labyrinth of Drakes by Marie Brennan. This is the fourth book in the Lady Trent memoirs, and I really liked what she did with this one. Things happened. Things happened in this book that I was just so happy about. I got a couple of scenes where I was just like, I wanted this, and I'm so happy with how this happened because this just makes so much sense for the characters. And I was just, this book. I've complained a little bit that her fifth book, the one that follows this, is wish fulfillment on Marie Brennan's part. This book gave all of Amy's wish fulfillment. It fulfilled all of my wish fulfillment. It did everything. It ticked every box I needed it to. It continued with the vein of the stories, where they're just amazing. I love how well written these are. I love the characters, and yeah, I'm biased because the thing I've been waiting to happen, I think since book 2 happened, and I'm so happy. Possibly book 3. He was. Either way, I'd been waiting for that to happen, so yeah. Excuse me. I'm sniffling as always because I have barely sniffled lately, and as soon as I turn the camera on, my sinuses go. So I'm going to do my best. But yeah. The next one is a new release you haven't read but want to. So this one, I think gets released tomorrow. I probably won't post this until tomorrow. So today, when you're watching this, if you're watching this when I post it, I'm filming this on the 20th. I believe this gets released on the 21st. But Waterstones! I love Waterstones. If they've got the book, they're just going to post it to you. So I actually received this last week. And that is This Wicked Fate by Kaylin Barron. This is the sequel to This Poison Heart, which I really, really enjoyed. I read at the start of this year and immediately pre-ordered this. So yeah, it's a lot shorter than it's a lot thinner than I was expecting it to be. I think it's a bit smaller than the first one. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much about it because obviously it's a sequel, but this follows on, I think, pretty much almost directly from where we leave off on This Poison Heart, which, yeah, I'm fairly certain I did a review for this, so I'll link it down below. A review for This Poison Heart, so I'll link that down below, and you can see my thoughts on it, and you'll understand why I'm quite anticipating this one. I don't imagine it's going to be too much longer before I actually get around to reading it. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't really have one. So one of my book goals this year is to reduce my book buying. I say it like I've kind of gone on a book buying ban. I'm gonna give you a hint, it's not been doing very well. But mostly I've just been trying to reduce how much. Like, I've basically banned myself from unnecessary splurge buying. I'm not buying anything on a whim. Everything is properly thought through. Pretty much the only things I'm now buying right now are sequels, something I've pre-ordered because it's probably a sequel, and my subscription boxes. And I cancelled one of my subscription boxes, so up until I went to Mr. B's in May, I was doing really, really well. Ish. So yeah, I don't really have any anticipated release, so I guess just whatever Fairy Loot send me, because they tend to be relatively new releases. That's all I got for you for that one. The next one is the biggest disappointment. I forgot to get out, but he's right here. The biggest disappointment. Now, this is nothing against the book. Oh, wait, hold on. No, that was last year. Never mind. What's my biggest disappointment this year? Bear with me as I go scroll through Storygraph. Okay, I'm back. My biggest disappointment, according to Storygraph, was One Corpse Too Many. I recently DNF'd that. I DNF'd it last month. I picked that up as a book where the premise is there's been a mass execution, but the Cadfael has been brought in to do the last rites or bless or whatever you do to folk that have already been executed. And there should be something like 94 corpses, but after meticulous counting, he discovers that there's 95 corpses. So basically, a murder has taken place, and they've tried to pass it off as part of this mass execution. And so we must figure out who got murdered and who murdered them and all that jazz. But it was 250. The book was only 250 pages long. I DNF'd it at about just over 50 pages because just over a fifth of the way into it, executions haven't taken place. We don't know if there's been a murder. And actually, in fact, this is a completely different story. This is a story about civil war and a noble young lady, disguising herself as a lad, hiding in the convent. And it's like, this is a gender-bent civil war. Like, this is not a murder mystery. And if it had been sold to me that way, I would totally have enjoyed that book. But that's not what I went in for. That's not what the blurb sold me. And yeah, when you're a fifth of the way in and you're still waiting for this supposed murder to take place, I mean, the executions haven't even taken place, I was just sitting there going like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. So yeah, my biggest disappointment is going to be One Corpse Too Many, because I was actually really into this. I was really looking forward to it, and it was what I was really in the mood for at the time. And then yeah, it betrayed me. Yeah. But moving on to nicer things. The biggest surprise of the year was one I read right at the start of the year, and I think even almost 6 months on, it's still the book that I've been like, okay, wow, where did that come from? So this was the additional book we got in the December Fairy Loot box, and I read it in January. And I picked it up going, this is going to be tripe. This is going to be tripe. I picked it up intending to read a couple of chapters so I could justify DNFing it and probably unhauling it. And that was The Coldest Touch by Isabel Sterling. I freaking loved this book. I think I gave it 4 stars, I think. I'm not 100% certain. But this was not what I expected. This basically took everything that was wrong with Twilight. The vampires don't sparkle. The 100-year-old vampire has an actual genuine reason for being in high school other than, I felt like going to high school. This is so good. I really enjoyed this. It took everything wrong with Twilight and fixed it. And yeah, highly recommend. If you've ever read Twilight and you went, all these things really annoy me about it, but otherwise I would, like the plot holes and things, they really annoy you, but otherwise you kind of enjoy that kind of story, I recommend this book. It's really, really good. There was conflict and it made sense. There was miscommunication and sort of drama within the relationship that then got resolved by talking to each other. How does that happen? So yeah, this was, to date, this is still my biggest surprise. And it's my biggest surprise because I enjoyed it so much more than I expected to, and there was just so much more to it than I expected there to be. Good. The next one is a favorite new author, debut or new. Now, this author is new to me, and I know this author, she is starting to make the rounds a bit more. It's possibly still a little bit niche, but I had this book with me when I was on holiday, and I'm now finding like bits and pieces from my holiday in it. But that is wagon. I do apologise if I've completely butchered that, and that is a really shiny book, so let's get the angle right. I discovered this author because I watched The Untamed, and then I watched the anime, and then I bought the books. And I have since seen a couple of reviews about her books, or like folk just briefly talking about what they're reading, and she's propping up more and more. And I'm really interested in reading her Scum Villain series and Heaven's Official Blessings. I'm kind of now just genuinely curious to read pretty much everything she's read because I really enjoyed these. So yeah, Mojang Tongju. If I've not harped on enough about The Untamed and the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, then let me tell you again, go read it. You won't be disappointed. So yeah, then the next prompt is your newest fictional crush. Oh my god, I spent so long on this one. I spent so long scrolling through Storygraph going, what have I read? Do I have a crush on any of these guys? Do I have a crush on any of these guys? No. There, and I almost told you guys. I was so close to telling you guys that I haven't developed any fictional crushes this year. How the hell did I miss this? I hurt Lanjan so hard. Like, Lanjan's my man. He's just... There are scenes in this book where Lanjan's not in it, and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this as much because Lanjan's not in it. There were episodes in the series where I'd be like, when's Lanjan coming back? When's Lanjan coming back? Hey, Lanjan's back! Yeah, honestly, if I had not said Lanjan, I think my friend Zoe would actually murder me. She'd be like, come on, you need to go to the doctor because how could you miss that? Sorry, I'm a little crazy. Your newest favorite character, the gingerbread man. This one took no thought whatsoever. I'm still obsessed with the little angry possessive gingerbread man from A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. He's just so cute. I mean, how can you not adore a little gingerbread man who gets jealous of other gingerbread men and makes them dive into a carnivorous, mildly cannibalistic sourdough? You know? He just takes out the competition. He's like, nah, she's paying too much attention to you guys. You gotta go. Bye. And honestly, this character has no dialogue. He's a gingerbread man. Of course he can't speak. But the author just managed to get so much personality into him that I am enamored. I freaking love him. I'm gonna go so far as to call it a crush because he is a gingerbread man. But I would die for that gingerbread man. I'm just saying. I would die for him. He doesn't even have a name. He's just gingerbread man. Hard times. But yeah. So the next prompt is a book that made you cry. This one shocked me. I was like, oh, there's bound to be that. I'm gonna have such a hard time picking between books that made me cry because I cry at everything. I haven't read a book that's made me cry this year. Like, I was looking through it, literally scrolling through Storygraph going, none of you made me cry this year. What's wrong with me? I think what it is I'm just naturally gravitating towards things that make me happy right now. And I'm kind of going away from the darker side of things. I was looking through like my Storygraph, like my stats for the year to date, and my top 3 like moods are adventurous, emotional, and lighthearted. Lighthearted was way down at the bottom last year. I think last year it was adventurous, emotional, and dark. So yeah, nothing's made me cry this year. I don't know if I want to rectify that or not, but we'll see. I'm sure something will make me cry before the end of the year, but yeah. In fact, I know something. I know there's a few things that will make me cry because a lot of my Mr. B's recommendations involve stuff that like really gonna tug at your heartstrings. And I'm away to start Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune, and I've heard that that's gonna tug. So yeah, yeah. I think this half of the year has been an anomaly. But yeah, no books have made me cry. Next, a book that made you happy. That has to be A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. Because seriously, that gingerbread man was so freaking amazing. But also just generally, it was just such a lovely warm read that I was smiling the entire way through it. I read it obviously when I was on holiday. The friend who I was on holiday with didn't even have to, like, I finished it and she's like, I don't even have to ask if you enjoyed that because look at your face. You had such a good time reading that. So yeah, if you want a book that it's not massively serious, it's not super heavy, but it's just gonna leave you happy, I recommend that. And a close second would be Legends and Lattes. Apparently, fantasy books that involve food make me happy. Yeah, that makes sense. The next is a book to film adaptation that you saw this year. I haven't really watched many films this year, and I don't necessarily think any of them have been book to film adaptations, or at least not that I've clocked, or not that's been on my radar. I was about to say I haven't been to the cinema this year, but I've been twice. And that was for Doctor Strange, which I mean I guess is comic to film. And it was alright. And then there was Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I don't know if that was a book or not. I've not actually looked into that. But you know what? It is a book to series adaptation. The Untamed, which I freaking love. And I'm going to stop rambling on about. I promise. I think that's the last time I'll talk about it today, at least. I'm going to very swiftly move on before y'all just ban me from BookTube. So, favorite video you've made so far. So this was an interesting one. I suspect a few of us, content creators, kind of find this, where the videos that you really enjoyed making maybe don't necessarily get that much traction. This particular video at the time of filming has 6 views, which, I mean, I know I'm not exactly a massive content creator, but that's a few less views than normal even for my videos. But despite that, I don't care. I actually really enjoyed making that video. It was so fun, like, going through my books, going, you. Oh yeah, you. Oh, definitely you. Yeah, not so much you. But yeah, the video I'm talking about is my books that made me hungry video, where I talk about books that have excellent food descriptions, that just really leave you craving like a certain something. So obviously I brought up Legends and Lattes because I was craving coffee and cinnamon buns so much with that. I think I mentioned Redwall because some of the food descriptions in Redwall are top notch. Yeah, I had a lot of fun just sort of like deciding which books to highlight in that one. Yeah, I'll also link that one down below. Maybe give it a bit more traction. Because yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I think it was like a recommendation list that it's not the kind of recommendations I've seen people give, but I love books with food. I mean, next to reading, eating is probably one of my favorite hobbies. So yeah, why not combine the two, right? Next is the most beautiful book you have bought this year. Now, I didn't go out of my way to buy this, but it did come with my Fairy Loot subscription. And I'm pretty much sure anyone who has a Fairy Loot subscription has to agree that this is the prettiest book they've given us this year. And that is The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. It has the colour inverted cover, and I much prefer this colour scheme. It has the gorgeous sprayed edges. I mean, how can you not fall in love with those sprayed edges, right? It's got absolutely stunning artwork on the end pages, and it's engraved, and it's foiled. It's just like, I'm almost scared to read this book in case I damage it. I will get around to reading it pretty soon, but yeah, this is so pretty. I was showing it to a colleague who was listening to it at the time, and she was absolutely enamored with it, and we went on to eBay to see if we could find her a Fairy Look copy, and they were going for like 200 quid, which is insane when you consider that we only pay like 30. I think I pay like 35 per box when you take into account VAT and shipping and all that. So yeah, but I can totally understand, because this is just an absolutely beautiful, stunning cover. Yeah. And then the last one. The last one is books you need to read this year. I'm too scared to look at a certain video I made right at the start of the year, possibly very end of last year, which was 12 books to read in 2022. I know I've read a couple of them. Liza Lochlamora was on that list, which means I did attempt to read it in 2022, which means that it was officially my most disappointing book of the year. Mostly because I really, really wanted to love it and I just didn't. I felt indifferent towards it and I DNF'd it and I just couldn't get into it. But yeah, anyway. That hurts. But yeah, anyway, moving on. I made a video, 12 books to read in 2022. I have not read 6 of them. I'm definitely not the halfway point yet. So I've got a bit of work to do over the next few months. But yeah. So any books that I need to read this year are the rest of the books on that list, which I'll also link down below if anyone's interested. Yeah. I don't know. So far, like that's all the prompts. Now I'm just going to wrap up a little bit. I think so far this year has been a really good reading month, a really good reading year. I think I've read like 36 books. I am 7 ahead of my yearly goal, which is amazing. I honestly thought I'd be behind at this point, but I've just had such a strong reading year so far. And yeah, it's a really happy reading year. Apparently my average ratings on Storygraph for this year are some like 4.34 or something like that. I guess I'm a 5-star whore, but it pretty much comes from the fact that if I like a book, I'm not going to find things I dislike. I'm not going to actively look for things I dislike about it. So if I just really like a book, I'm just going to say, hey, I really like this book, 5 stars. It takes a lot for me. If I will basically rate a book 3 stars and up, if it's below 3 stars, there's a chance I'm going to DNF it. So, and if I DNF a book, I won't rate it, because just because a book doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's not going to work for everyone. Yeah. So yeah, really, really strong reading year. Not too much to freak out about, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to end this here before it becomes overly rambly. So let me know, what are you reading? How's your reading year going? Are you going to do this tag? I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.